YouTube, what up? I'm back with another reaction video. Hope y'all having a wonderful day, a blessed day. I'm having a great day. No complaints, no complaints. So hopefully y'all ain't got no complaints. But if you do, just remember this. After this video is over, you will have a better day. Let's try to laugh a little bit. You here? You might as well smile a little bit. You feel me? So today we got idiot cops who get owned by higher authority. Alright. Who's the higher authority? A judge, perhaps? Maybe a sergeant? I don't know. Let's see.
I didn't fight the system because I honestly believed they were my checks.
It's scary when you start seeing police chiefs being interrogated for corruption. How can you trust any cop if their chief gets caught for his crimes? This interrogation will show you exactly how this chief manipulated the system and cashed in on it. On March 10, 2018, Buckeye Lake Police Chief James Hansey went over to a residence for a police call and accidentally fired his weapon. This led to an investigation into the chief's conduct, where the police found out that there was a lot of shady stuff he had been doing this whole time, and nobody knew.
I wasn't even thinking of being on technically light duty.
Right.
I had no gun with me. And
first of all, I know we just started, and what am I doing pausing? Y'all do not want to hear my voice right now. I get it. But what I'm about to say is, this dude is built sloppy. Oh my God, he a police? I didn't know he was the police. He is built. Look at him, big beanbag back, like, little arms, big back, big stomach, and this is an officer. Bro, who are you chasing? Who is he chasing? Y'all let me know, because I don't see him chasing or catching anybody. I'm sorry. I probably shouldn't talk about people, so let me get back. I'm sorry.
you know, with there someone possibly being in that house dying, you guys have done the same thing. You'd have went in. We had 3 people here, and we've been trained. I told Ritter, give me your handgun. Vermaiden went around the side of the trailer to see if there was a door on the back. And we went in, cover 3. Vermaiden was the first one in the door, went to the right, because it's a a single wide. Went in, and I went to the left, and I held the whole back of the trailer. And the trailer's really dark. And the only lights that's on is their flashlights and a TV in the very back room. I'm standing here, low ready, left hand, and all of a sudden something flashed. I thought someone was coming up at me. When I came up, I hit a corner and put running around, went on the floor.
Okay. Did you have your finger on the trigger or something when you went up?
I had, yeah.
Hansey had a finger amputation just a day before the incident and was advised to stick to desk duty. But the policy didn't get through the thick skull of his, and he ended up endangering lives.
Listen, we had an accidental discharge. Sorry about that. Everything in the house is fine. And his exact words to me is, I don't give a shit, as long as my mom's okay.
The point still stands. He wasn't allowed to be there. Would he say sorry about that if the shot actually injured someone?
Just come right to the scene with you guys and help clear the trailer.
You know, I don't know if he also notified dispatch because we didn't have a walkie on him. I didn't have a walkie either, did Jeff?
Didn't notify
I do know when I was standing there and she said 99 traffic, he got on the radio and asked her and said, but 458 99 traffic.
Okay. All right. So we pull a tape from there. It's going to have you call on dispatch.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, it was.
Because Ritter marked dispatch too and said, hey, this is going on over here at the trailer park and everything else. So he actually marked it. So you guys get over there, you have your external discharge, talk to the people, everything's fine with them. Now, at some point, Heber came over, right?
Yes.
Okay. Were they called to come over?
I don't know.
Yes, obviously it's the mayor's fault. Dodging accountability is going to be difficult for a guy his size.
I did exactly what I was supposed to do. I called the mayor. I called the mayor 6 times and she never called me back. She called Ritter instead of calling my phone. She does that a lot. Because she had the other day, she's standing there and Ritter's phone goes off. Call from Peggy Wells. He's talking to her. I'm like, I walk up and say, why aren't you calling me? I'm the chief.
Right.
From
You blaming
years,
her, man?
she's been on council for years, and yeah, she never liked the police department. She's actually picketed against the fire department. She don't like them. She had a big meeting with Randy Thorpe, and well, Billy was still there, and wanted to see about bringing them in and get rid of us. And Billy and them guys told him, you can't afford us.
Right.
You know. But when she took over mayor, she took me in on January 19th. I told her, I said, all I want to do is my job.
Yeah.
I want to work with you. I have no hard feelings about nothing.
I didn't know cops.
Why he blaming the mayor? The mayor had nothing to do with you shooting, accidental shooting. Like, she had nothing to do with that. Who cares if she didn't call you back? She called somebody else back. Chief or not, first of all, nigga, you wasn't even supposed to be there. You had an amputated hand or a finger. You wasn't supposed to be there. See, this is what happens when people do too much. Prime example.
Were allowed to work from home. Do they handcuff using emails? Who allowed him to be paid while he worked from home?
I guess a couple of them mentioned a computer that you had at home, that your excuse was that you had to go home because you had some information on the computer at home that you didn't at work.
My computer at home is set up the same way the computer at the house. I mean, at the office.
Okay.
And if I was at my house doing stuff and writing, you can go to my house right now and I can show you the stuff that I've done, changing policies and changing things. I've had permission from our mayor, Kate Carroll, to go there.
Okay. Have you had permission from this mayor to go there?
No, and I haven't.
Okay. All right.
If I wish I'd have brought my phone in. The times that they're probably talking about is I burnt my foot right heel really bad, clear to the bone, and I had to have a special boot, and it hurt to walk in it.
The police chiefs should report weekly to some higher authority, and investigators should go through the police station at least once a month.
And I would come in the mornings, I would get the mail like I was supposed to, I would check the phone recorders and do everything else, and then I would go to the house and do what I had to do. You know, but I always had my walkie right there, and they knew this.
Well, I think part of it too was they said they came over, a couple of times, and you were just wearing shorts and a t-shirt, watching cops while you were on duty.
Watching cops.
Was and then when I checked the records, you had him logged on his hours for that day. But my concern is if you're at home that day, and that's true. Let's say that's true what he's saying. If you're just sitting around watching cops when you're supposed to be at work, that could be an issue.
Right.
Obviously, I mean, you're the chief of police. You wouldn't want one of your guys doing that.
I would go home a lot, but I would not. I would be in blue jeans or my BDU pants and a shirt that always said police, and I would be doing the stuff that I was allowed to do on the computer per the mayor.
He was
Not
treating
at
the
home,
police
bro.
station like a restaurant he owned. What a waste of tax dollars.
So what are your procedures for junking cars?
Junking cars?
Yeah, let's say you get a car in an impound, nobody comes and gets it. What is your procedures to get rid of that vehicle?
Run the thing through the state of Ohio. They come back and tell us if there's a lien on it. And then you send that person, or if there's a lien on it, you send that person 10-day notice. Or if there's no lien on it, you send that person, the owner, 10-day notice. And then if they don't collect it, or we get it back, they've got 10 days to pay the towing or anything like that. If not, then I go get a title from the BMV, and then we gather how many other cars we got up, get 3 bids, and then people come out and look at like junkyards or private people or whatever. They look at all the cars all at once and give you 3 bids, and the highest bidder gets them.
Okay.
As if the situation couldn't get worse, Chief Hansey was also accused of removing batteries from junk cars and selling them for personal profit.
You ever taken
Stealing
any batteries out and
batteries.
sold the batteries?
No.
No. And the reason I'm asking in this setting, Jimmy, is this is a setting where under Gary Act, you can't be charged with what we're talking about. We can't talk about this criminally.
Right.
Okay, but if that comes out criminally, there's going to be some issues probably with stealing. Okay, so there's been those allegations, and a little more than just allegations. Very, very specific things that I've checked out that are not making a lot of sense. Okay, one of them especially being a water pump. that was taken off a truck for Randy?
If anything was taken off them cars, the village already owned them, and they had permission from the mayor to take anything.
That response right there lets me know he is stealing. He's taking water pumps, he's taking batteries, anything he can find, he's taking it, he's selling it. Tell me he had permission. You ain't had no permission from nobody, bro. Stop stealing. The way he built bugs me right now. And if y'all out there know him, I apologize, but this, just look how he built, dog. I can't help it, man. Hacky sack body, deflated beach ball body. Like, oh. Why, man? You're an officer, bro. You gotta stay in some type of shape. You got to, because you never know when you have to get in a scuffle. You never know.
Personally, I've never taken anything off the cars, out of the cars, anything. Now, Randy and Mark Demick has, yes. But they've always had
snitching.
permission, and they've never done anything until the vehicles were owned by the village.
Sure.
This police department was a joke. Petty crime right under the roof of a police station?
Did you take any batteries then after they owned it? Did the mayor say, hey, you can take these? I'm trying to, you know, explain it for myself in my head why I've had two people tell me the same thing now. Two different people. One, you know, that I would say is completely on your side. One that says maybe not completely on your side, and they're both telling me the same thing. So I'm trying to figure that out why in my head that would be the case. So is there a circumstance or an instance where you did take a battery or two after the mayor cleared it?
I've never taken a battery.
Never.
Never.
Okay.
Never.
All right. Well, I needed to ask you about that because, like I said, I've had a couple of them here. All right.
The detectives wanted more out of
Deny
the
it,
chief,
bro.
so they shifted
Keep
the point
denying.
and attacked him for the same discharge situation.
In the village, they took a call, even though they're not cleared to come back for 2 more days. Would you per se, do you have a problem with that?
If it was the same situation that I was put in,
Sure, call exactly the same.
no, I would not.
Okay. And why is that?
Because there was imminent risk of death. He was there. He had plenty enough people to take care of what the situation was. And I believe he has what word do I want to use?
You want to use private duty to do something, right?
Yeah.
I assume that's where you're going with that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, I do. I would not have a problem with that at all. I mean, the accidental discharge was very unfortunate and a bad timing, but, you know, no, I wouldn't have a problem with that at all because of the imminent danger.
Once again, the accidental discharge seemed to only be a stepping stone for the detectives as they pursued another key issue in the department.
You've got all the hours listed for everybody that worked, all the calls were taken, all that stuff.
Yeah, we get the calls and everything out of the computer system.
Okay.
And Jeff would estimate the hours.
How's he estimating the hours? I'm confused on that part.
I worked 80 hours a week.
Uh-huh.
I mean, 80 hours a week.
Every 2
Wow.
weeks.
Every 2 weeks. That's
80 hours
160
a week
months.
is
So he
crazy.
put 160. He would take what he was supposed to work, divide that by 2. That's what he would get, just down the line like that.
Okay. Ultimately responsible for that, to make sure those numbers are correct.
Those numbers were estimations. They were never correct, not meant to be correct.
You guys are paid by the hour, right?
Mm-hmm.
How do you get paid by the hour, an estimate by the hour? How does that work? Because we have a time clock. We got to turn stuff. I mean, we literally have a time clock.
How do you pay officers by the hour? There were so many holes in the PD, it was difficult to comprehend.
Then you're ultimately responsible for making sure the numbers are accurate when they go to Mary, who I assume Mary does some other report as well, or did at the time.
I have no clue. We just turn in our timesheets to her.
But you make a report for city council, or for village council. I'm sorry, if I keep calling city council, I'm just used to this. You make a report for village council, right?
The end of the month, they would get a report.
Yes.
On with the fire department and every street department and everything else.
Right. And that report is done by who?
We're making,
Okay, so Vermaiden does the report. He does the report up, and I would assume, since you're the guy in charge ultimately, and you're the one responsible for numbers ultimately, you look at that report.
no.
You don't look at the report that
I knew he didn't look at the report. I
No,
knew it.
He would come in or on a Friday, when I'm off on Fridays, and he knows Monday is the council meeting, he would do it up, and then he would take it over and give it to Valerie. I have no clue.
But you know who comes, but you know who's coming and going, Jimmy. That's the whole thing I want to get at. You know who's coming and going in the department, and there are people like Schilling. Is it Schiller? I know
Jason Schilling.
Jason Schilling.
Yeah.
I talked to lots of people, and they said he only comes during taser training. That's it. And he's listed for 60 hours a month.
Correct.
Every single month.
Correct. Because Frank Foster, our mayor, said he did our radar, he did our taser, and he did something. What else did he do? Radar, taser.
The department's officers were all overpaid for the work they performed. One officer in particular was paid full-time despite only attending taser training. Here's the chief's explanation.
I believe it is accurate.
First of all, if anybody getting overpaid for under the amount of hours they work and they snitch to that, or if they like lead to that they getting overpaid, you're an idiot. You're an idiot. I'm being dead serious. So if this dude called in those other officers and asked them how many hours they worked last month, and you tell them you only went in for laser training taser training, if you tell them that and that's it, and they got you recorded down for 16 hours, he gonna look at you like, well, that's just like 3 hours. Why'd you record 16? Bro, I'm lying. I'm not just for my sake, but for the whole department. If I know the whole department getting overpaid for less hours, I will for sure lie. I'm just lying. That's what they supposed to do, is lie. Yeah, we worked last Monday, then the Wednesday before that, then we had gun training, and then we had tactical training. I'm making all type of stuff up. That's just me. You're already in trouble, so you might as well lie at this point. You're going to jail. You're going to jail.
Because the mayor, Frank Foster, said, giving this, we will trade him this 16 hours a month.
Blaming the mayor.
He continues to train us like that. And that's the way we did it.
I understand what you're saying. I do. I get it. But, you know, a guy like that's valuable. You know, but you want that guy to actually work. And when you're presenting those numbers to the village council, the numbers don't match what is actually going on. You know, so if you're putting 16 hours down, it looks like that guy's been there for 16 hours that month. He put in at least 16 hours of time, right?
If you wanted to look at it that way, yes.
I don't know. I mean, I really don't know how else to look at it, Jimmy, when it comes to that, because, again, yeah, valuable guy. You want to keep him around. You want to keep him happy, but he's not putting the numbers in that you are saying he's putting in. Does that make sense?
The chief once again deflected blame, pointing fingers at other officers and even the mayor, insisting he was simply going along with their decisions. He seemed unable to comprehend the seriousness of the situation and his own accountability.
But it's on there for 16 hours a month. Every month that she's been there, she's got 16 hours a month. I call her, she says, no, that's not accurate. I call the guy she rides with, Haas.
Jeff Haas.
Jeff says, no, she does not work 16 hours a month. Yeah, you guys put 16 hours a month on that sheet.
Again,
you understand that's a criminal charge. That could be a criminal charge to do all that
there's
stuff.
no monetary value.
There's no monetary value. You're making it public. You're making a public record. You're falsifying a public document because it's going over to village council. You see what I'm saying? So you're falsifying a document that goes over there, and I don't know why. I don't get it. I really don't understand it. You know, but
you understand it because they want more money.
Explain it, Jimmy, if you're going to. I mean, this is where it gets explained.
Well, sure, I know. This is where it gets explained.
The chief was shown his crimes, and that immediately made him start gaslighting the detectives.
Let's go to these checks that were cashed for the insurance company. Now, I talked to the insurance company about those checks, and they had some pretty big issues with them. Mm-hmm. All right, that may be something that I'm going to have to turn over to somebody else to investigate criminally. If it gets to that point, I may have to do that. I don't know what the insurance checks that when you were transported to the hospital, you were supposed to pay. You were supposed to cash them, and you cashed 4 of them.
Oh Lord, you got to be kidding me.
See, Jimmy, the problem with an internal investigation is once it starts rolling, it starts opening the door to all kinds of other stuff that comes in. Mm-hmm. And I have a duty now to at least address it and try to figure out what's going on. In this setting, again, you're under Gary, okay? I can't use anything you say criminally, period.
Oh, I understand.
So, all right, I want you to understand that, you know, before you.
This is funny. These checks, I honestly, wholeheartedly, with my life, believe they were my Aflac checks. Because I talked to John Curtis, you can call him and ask him, I got him in my phone. He says, you've got a check coming, and you're going to have checks coming for your follow-up visits. I just got a check, and you can run out to my truck or give me the keys. I got $3,100 out there. I just got an Aflac check for this.
Okay.
I honestly, wholeheartedly, 1,000,000% believe them checks were mine. This is starting to piss me off.
Don't get pissed off, brother. Slow down.
I made arrangements and they were taking money out of my payroll every month. I didn't fight the system. Because I honestly, guys, I honestly believed they were my checks.
So did you get any Aflac checks during that time that you were getting those checks?
Yes.
Okay, so did you wonder, like, hey, wait a minute, why is Aflac sending me another check?
No, because he told me that I'd have money coming from follow-ups.
Gotcha.
Just like a few minutes ago, I go to the hospital. I've been to the hospital since February 4th, every day for 3 hours.
The entire police department was a mess, and the detectives were just dropping bombs at the chief, who should have been aware of this prior to this investigation. As the investigation neared its end, Hansie's desperation became clear, and he even admitted to some of the alleged misconduct. In the end, he once again tried to become the victim in this situation.
Right before
This
Mary
chief's slacking.
left in November, December, I asked if we could get a window tint meter for $48. No, you don't have the money. Seriously?
Wow, $48?
$48. So that's the way we've always been in that village from day one I started. They don't give us nothing. We buy our own paper. We buy our own uniform. They give us a uniform allowance. But we buy our...
First of all, what they need to give you something for if you taking everything? $48, nigga, use one of them checks you stole. Use one of them insurance checks. You getting $3,100 from checks and you know they're not yours. Use that to buy your tent reader. Or better yet, use the money that you use from stealing the batteries and the water pump. Do that. Use that money. Where that money at? Nigga, ungrateful, man.
Our own boots, and we buy our own guns and our belts and stuff that whatever the uniform allowance won't cover.
You know, that reminds me of something though, Jimmy, I gotta ask you before you take off here. You threw away a bunch of property the other day. Yeah.
No, it was boxes and stuff like that.
Okay. And one of them was one of our uniform shirts.
Yes, yes.
One uniform shirts.
Yeah.
Why'd you throw away our shirt?
It had been in the back of the property room forever.
So some of the stuff you threw away, was that property or just boxes? Because we found some dried up weed and all that stuff too out there. You understand, you gotta get 4 horses to throw that stuff out, right?
Right, that was just dirt.
Shortly after the interrogation ended, and after the investigation was concluded, Chief Hansie was charged with 22 administrative counts. Chief Hansie was immediately
22?
dismissed from his position and placed on diversion. Fortunately, he was removed from his position and held responsible for his negligence and misconduct.
Man, get Big back up out of there, man. That's what happens when you just, like, when you low-key be on the force for too long, you know, eventually you gonna move up. You're gonna move up in the ranks. And they done put this big fat nigga into the chief position. And I know he wasn't always that big, but he got lazy. Nigga go home, work from home in his shorts and t-shirt, like they say, watching cops. Sit down and eat all day. He wasn't really active. He was logging 16 hours a month and would show up 2 or 3 hours in that month. He wasn't active, man. Nah, that detective was on him. He gave him a audit and everything. Yeah. W video, W detective. It's just, it sucks how he was trying to bring everybody else into it. Talking about the mayor and all the other employees. Like, bro, just take your lick, bro. Take your lick. You know what you done. You done it. Anyways, man. W video. Catch y'all on the next one, man. Y'all be smooth how y'all be smooth. Be cool how y'all be cool. Peace.